In 2006, a researcher named Henry Roediger ran an experiment at Washington University. He took two groups of students and gave them the same material to study. Group 1 reread the material 4 times. Group 2 read it once and then spent the rest of the time testing themselves on it with no notes. 1 week later, the group that tested themselves scored 21% higher on a surprise exam. Same material and same amount of time, but completely different result. This single study changed how learning scientists think about memory. And yet right now, today, the overwhelming majority of students are still in Group 1, rereading and highlighting and hoping something sticks. I've been there. Most people have. And the problem isn't that you're lazy or that you're not smart enough. The problem is that nobody actually taught you how to study. Like, we spend 12 plus years in school and nobody sits you down and says, hey, here's how your brain actually works, and here's how to actually make information stick. So today we're gonna fix that. I'm gonna break down 5 study techniques that are actually used by students at Harvard, and before you say that's not for me, trust me, these aren't some genius-only secrets. They're just smarter ways of doing what you're already doing wrong. Let's get into it. Technique 1. Spaced repetition. All right, let me tell you something about cramming, and I know we've all done it. It feels productive. You sit there for 6 hours the night before an exam, coffee in hand and notes everywhere, and you feel like a genius. And then you walk into the exam the next morning, and somehow you just managed to pass, maybe. But 2 weeks later, it's all gone. Like, you never even studied it. That's because cramming is basically lying to your brain. You're loading it with information all at once, and your brain goes, okay, cool, and then immediately starts throwing it in the trash. Spaced repetition is the opposite of that. Instead of studying something once for a long time, you study it multiple times over a longer period. Day 1, you learn it. Day 2, you review it. Day 5, again. Week later, again. Each time you come back to it, your brain goes, oh, this again, this must be important, and it strengthens that memory. Dr. Tracy Tokuhama Espinosa, who teaches at Harvard, literally says this reinforces the neural pathways in your brain. It's how memory physically works. Here's a simple way to do this. Use Anki. It's a free flashcard app. You make your cards and the app tells you when to review them, that's all. Medical students use it to remember lots of drug names. People learning languages use it to remember new words. You can use it for any subject. The rule is simple. Short sessions, repeated often, beats one long marathon session every single time. Technique 2, active recall. Okay, this one is probably the most powerful thing I'm going to tell you today, and it sounds almost too simple. Active recall means instead of reading your notes over and over, you close the notes and try to remember what was in them. That's it. But here's why it really works. Think about going to the gym. If you just watch workout videos all day, you don't get stronger. You have to actually lift the weights. Your brain is the same way. Reading your notes passively is like watching someone else work out, but quizzing yourself is the actual reps. Harvard psychologist Jesse Schwab talks about this. People think they know something because they read it and it felt familiar, but familiarity is not the same as knowing. You only actually know something if you can pull it from your memory without any help. Now, what I want you to do is after you finish a chapter or a lecture, close everything. Don't look at your notes, just take a blank piece of paper and write down everything you remember. It'll feel hard, you will feel like you forgot a lot, but that's the point. That difficulty is what makes it stick. Also, you can try this as well, like after each topic, write 3 to 5 exam-style questions and answer them later without looking. Old school index cards still work great for this. The research on this is overwhelming. Practice testing beats rereading by a massive margin. So if you're still highlighting and rereading your textbook thinking that's studying, it's not. It's just reading with a yellow pen. Switch to quizzing yourself. You'll feel the difference within a week. Technique 3, teach it to someone. Okay, so there's this idea called the Feynman technique, named after Richard Feynman, the Nobel Prize winning physicist. The concept is simple. If you can't explain something simply, you don't understand it yet. And Harvard's own academic advisors basically say the same thing. When you explain concepts in your own words to someone else, your understanding goes way deeper than if you just read about it. When you're reading, you can fool yourself. Your eyes pass over the words, something clicks, and your brain goes, yep, got it. But when you have to actually explain it to another person, all the gaps show up immediately. You'll be halfway through explaining photosynthesis or whatever it is and suddenly go, wait, actually, how does that part work? That moment of confusion is gold. That's exactly where you need to go back and learn. So practically find a study buddy, or even just grab your little sibling, your friend, or maybe your roommate. Explain what you learned today, and if there is no one available, then explain it out loud to yourself. Or record yourself like you're making a YouTube video. Harvard students in study groups actually take turns teaching each other sections of the material. They're not just sitting around going, okay, so what did you get for number 4? They're actively teaching each other. There's a big difference. Technique 4, better notes, not more notes. Let me guess, when you're in a lecture or watching an educational video, you write down everything, almost like a court reporter. And then when it's time to review, you have 6 pages of notes that mean nothing to you. So understand that. Note-taking isn't about capturing everything. It's about processing the information in real time. One method that Harvard specifically recommends is the Cornell method. You divide your page into sections, one side for your main notes, one side for key questions or keywords, and a section at the bottom for a brief summary. What this does is force you to identify what actually matters instead of just transcribing. Another approach is the concept maps. Instead of linear notes, you draw a big idea in the middle and then branch out. What does it connect to? What causes what? What are the examples? This is especially powerful for subjects where everything is connected, like history, biology, or economics. And here's something a lot of people don't do. After a class or study session, spend 5 minutes writing a summary in your own words from memory. This immediately turns note-taking into active recall. The goal of your notes isn't to look good. It's to help you learn faster later. So keep them organized, keep them visual, keep them in your own words. Technique 5, plan, rest, reflect. All right, last one, and honestly, this might be the most underrated one. You can know all the techniques in the world, but if you have no structure, even if you're just studying whenever, nothing works. The people who are actually productive don't have more willpower. They have better systems. Harvard advisors literally say, make a study schedule and treat it like a class you can't skip. Block out the time, put it in your calendar, and make it non-negotiable. And here's something counterintuitive. Take breaks, and I mean actual breaks, not scroll TikTok for 45 minutes breaks, but short, real breaks. The Pomodoro technique is popular for a reason. 25 minutes of focused work, 5-minute break. You'd be amazed what this does for your concentration over a long session. Your brain consolidates information when it's resting. NIH research actually backs this. Even short pauses improve retention. Sleep especially. If you stay up until 3 a.m. cramming, you're literally sabotaging your own memory formation. The stuff you studied gets cemented during sleep. And the last piece, reflect on your mistakes. When you get something wrong on a practice test or a graded assignment, don't just move on, sit with it for a second. Why did you get it wrong? What did you actually misunderstand? This metacognition, I mean thinking about your own thinking, is what separates people who gradually get better from people who keep making the same mistakes forever. So to recap real quick, space out your studying instead of cramming. Quiz yourself instead of rereading. Explain it to others, take smarter notes, and build a schedule with actual breaks. None of this is complicated. But like everything that actually works, it requires consistency. You won't feel the results after one day, but give it 2-3 weeks of actually doing this, and the difference is real. Start with just one of these today. Pick the one that feels most doable and do it with whatever you're studying this week. That's it. If this was helpful, like and subscribe. More videos like this coming. See you in the next one.